Welcome, modern day mystics, fellow truth seekers, James and Justin, back again with another reaction. And in this one, we're going to take a look at this video titled When Science Becomes Ideology.
Ooh. Turning the table on it.
Yeah. This is done by Big Think, and we're just going to watch this short video and unpack it.
All right.
One of the biggest challenges today is to figure out in the contemporary world with Google and all this information, like what's true? How do I figure that out? How do I assess information? Many people would argue, well, you know what? Science tells us the truth. Those are the facts and everything else is sort of opinion or belief or philosophy. That's not true. It turns out that there's a big difference between science as a methodology and scientism. When you say, here's a bunch of data or an organism or something, I'm going to test a hypothesis, and given the data, we either support it or refute it. That's science as a method. But a lot of people who call themselves scientists, they go beyond that method and they say, okay, well, here's the truth. There are many scientists, for example, who would say, there is no God. Okay, that's fine, but that's not a scientifically testable hypothesis. So why are you saying that? And the reason they say that is because they have a faith system of their own. So it's really important that we divide out the science, that is, the replicable hypothesis testing, historical analyses of data and the world, from the opinions of people who do that stuff.
I'm sure there would be a lot of people that might be angry by a statement like that science has a faith of its own. Because there's a certain brand of scientist. I'm not saying all scientists, but there's a certain brand out there now. You see a lot of where they kind of joke and poke fun at religious institutions and stuff like that, and maybe even look down on them because of faith. What is faith? You know, because eventually, at some time, you know, if you're going to exist within this reality, you're going to have to pick something to believe in if you want to exist. Because it's going to determine the choices and the path that you make in this life.
No, I resist that. I'm going to try to not pick something to believe in, whatever that is. Whatever believing in something is. Like, you know, you actively believe in it. What are you doing to show you believe in it? You're demonstrating some behavior? Now, I've heard of people... Okay, but whatever, skis von Biergenstein. I don't feel like I believe in my heartbeat. It beats. So... there are people that have been scientists that have found God through science. There's been like mathematicians that in their pursuit of understanding math and, you know, quantifying infinity and stuff have been like, I believe in God. I became a believer from that. That has happened.
Yeah.
You know, give it a Goog. I'm pretty sure. I've heard some stories.
Yeah.
But so I feel like all roads lead to the same damn answer. It's just our childish, frustrated, childlike frustration that makes us be like, no, my way's right and I got the secret knowledge and I hope you believe something stupid because that just makes me win more. Yeah. This is childish.
Yeah.
This is friggin' child's play.
Yeah.
You know, how you know, I don't want to like make you too angry, but like recognize your own perturbed nature when I say that type of stuff is childish. Watch yourself get angry. Be like, it's not childish. These are, you know, science made the atom bomb. We can blow up the planet with science, so have some respect. You know, like if I know that rebuttal, then obviously I know that as a rebuttal. But listen to what I'm saying here, man. You don't need to fret about people being overly Hindu, Christian, Catholic, Muslim. All the roads lead to the same place, which is an insight you only get by living and getting experience and then, you know, slowly starting to see that, not resisting that as an answer.
So I frequently argue that humans are messy, complicated, and not so simple. I also argue that the way in which we think about science and practice evolutionary biology is influenced by racism, sexism, and historical, economic, and political frames. Because I make those cases, people say that, oh, I'm not doing science, I'm doing politics. What I try to do is say, okay, what's the topic you're arguing about? Let's do biology. Let's do anthropology. Let's do culture. Let's do ethnography. What is the data? What do we know? And this is something that's going on in the science community right now. And it's an incredibly exciting time because people are pushing back against this whole idea that we already know about sex, that we already know about human variation, that we already know how things work. So, for example, when I argue that the binary, male-female, is not the best way to characterize humans, I am arguing that the biological dynamics and variation in human bodies is complicated and isn't always representative of this binary characterization, that there's more going on, and that understanding that more is central to doing a better job of understanding the human. Now, that's more complicated, and it goes against cultural norms. Everyone knows there's a right way to be a male and a female. I'm like, well, what about people who aren't male or female? What about senses of identity and gender and history and culture and politics and reality of biological dynamism? We either deal with the 100% of the problem and not just be happy to explain 80%, or we admit what we're doing. My argument is the data that cooperation, coordination, creativity, imagination are central in understanding the human, and that reductive approaches, either biological or cultural, are not going to get us sufficient answers. One of the most important things, I think, in the contemporary practice of science is diversifying the voices, the bodies, the experiences, and the modes of doing science. The more diverse group of humans that we have doing that, the better opportunities we have to get different perspectives, different views, different understandings, to get a more comprehensive picture of the world we find ourselves in. I think the world is complex and messy, and evolutionary biology and human evolution demonstrates that. However, I am very much struck by the fact that we are cooperative, we're collaborative, we're creative. That individualistic, competition-based, or gene-based reductionist approaches don't do the best job of categorizing science in general and humans in particular, and therefore, we need to take a holistic and, I would say, generous approach to thinking about human biology, human history, human culture, and human evolution. Science is always done by humans, and humans are always messy, cultural, biased, believing creatures. And so we need to have the skill set and the collaboration to look at the science and understand it, not just via the scientist, but in its own right.
I'm tired, man. This is the last video we've recorded today, so I'm not going to even...
It's been a long one.
I missed a lot of that.
I don't know. One of the things he said there at the end, though, he was talking about kind of like the messy nature of who we are. And it doesn't matter whether it's science or spirituality or politics, whatever you're involved with. We are limited creatures, and there's going to be flaws no matter what route you decide to take in there. And I don't know. Maybe the reason I picked this video is because for some reason I feel that like science sometimes gets put on a higher pedestal than other ways of trying to figure out reality and figure out things. And I think it's good to remember that it can become like a religion. It can become ideological, and that practice, that tool of science, that amazing thing that gives us all the wonderful technology and things that we have, is also being done by humans that are flawed and biased, and we can turn it into all types of messy things out of it. So, but it can also be a wonderful thing that does lots of great things for us, at the exact same time. Yeah. I just thought it was an interesting video. Did you think there is like anything in there that kind of like stuck out to you?
Oh yeah, it's like incorporating, to me, I see the way that it's incorporating spirituality into science in some way, imagine trying to convince a bunch of staunch scientists to be more open-minded.
Yeah.
There's something spiritual about that. I don't know I'm tired. I'm having a hard time. Maybe I'll let you have to just say the most stuff here.
I see a future where science and spirituality kind of like start merging together.
Let me safeguard myself from the pessimistic bastard out there that's like, ready to pounce and be like, what the you can't have the non-objective attitude towards science, What are we going to, pretend things aren't the way they are? Okay, I don't mean that. I don't mean that you should not consider objectivity. In some sense, I'm very objective. I get into frustrating arguments sometimes with my partner that are all about like, we both looking at that. That's yellow, right? You see yellow and I see yellow, and I'm shocked at sometimes the response of like, well, I don't know, like the wiggle room. Sometimes I want things to just be objective, and I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
I'm saying that there is room for instance, say somebody came in with some wacky claim that like, if I make myself into different shapes, I can, it does something, it realigns my spine, or some like overlooked approach to health in some remote jungle tribe that you would dismiss because they're, what could they possibly know? They're not us. Or some kind of arrogance within science. Everything the guy talked about, essentially. Why am I going over it again? There's room for open-mindedness in science, is all I'm saying. And to me, that harkens to the more you begin to be open-minded, one day you will entertain ideas that are radically open-minded, and that's like the window into spirituality.
Yeah. Good point. That's a great way. You know what? You stole the last word because that was perfect.
Oops.
All right. If you guys liked our reaction here, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everyone, till next time,
Stay spiritual.